you with a quick update video here on the YouTube channel. As you may know already, if you don't, we have the SoundCloud, iTunes, and the Stitcher account for the actual general podcast where you're going to get the 3 episodes a week. But we also have this YouTube channel. We're going to be putting the podcast here. We'll also be coming with some video podcast content as well as extra content like this right here. So what am I doing here? We got a video tonight. We have an episode tonight, I mean. What am I doing making this video right now? Well, right now I'm coming to you because obviously if you've watched our podcast or listened, you know that Paul's a Browns fan and I'm a Seahawks fan. Now, we try to be 100% non-biased when we're doing our podcast, so I don't really, I joke saying, oh, this is the best team in the world and everything, but let's be honest, we're definitely not that. But I try to be 100% unbiased, and I want to make a reaction video for that because I'm a Seahawks fan, and I know that there's other Seahawks fans out there that want that because we don't get that. They talked about us in our up years, but then you don't hear about it. And a lot of other fans feel that. So I'm going to do videos for everybody. The Jets fan, the Bucks fan, the Falcons fan. The guys that don't have the team that's the Cowboys, that's the Patriots. These teams that are in the the media's eyes all the time. We don't get that. And if you're like me, you search the internet and you search YouTube because you want to hear something Monday after the game. I remember those days where Monday would come around, Sunday we had a great game. Let's say it was one of the games where Seattle won just, without a doubt, 28-13 or something. Monday comes around and I want to watch highlights or reviews, and I check out all the different podcasts. I listen to First Take, Undisputed. I go to Around the NFL. I go to, all the different things from all the different content providers, and they'll touch on it for 3 seconds, but they won't give me anything. And that used to make me upset because I was like, man, we get it. Cowboys are talked about. The Patriots are talked about. But there's certain teams that don't get a lot of airtime. So that's what the point of a lot of this content's going to be. But obviously right now, for my fellow Seahawks fans, my fellow 12s, I want to make this video. So first and foremost, last night going into the game, I had, some fears. I thought things were going to go a little sideways anyway. I did expect that. I did not expect what I saw. Now, just straight off the bat, you have to understand, we pretty much went into straight rebuild mode this offseason, firing coaches left and right, losing players, Cam Chancellor retiring because, of his health, Richard Sherman walking away and moving on to the 49ers. So we're really in a rebuild feel, but it's like we're in denial as Seahawks fans because we don't want to be in a rebuild. So we do need to understand that's what our coaching, our head coach and our general manager, what they've decided, and we have to understand that going into it. Now, are there some bright spots? Yeah, there's some bright spots. So I'm going to be looking at my laptop because I took notes while watching the game last night of the pure emotion of what's going on. So, I'm writing it and I'm looking here. I'm like, penalties already on first defensive drive, face mask, defensive holding, missed interception, jumped ball, gave up 15-yard play. So that's just my emotions right there. And that's true. We had penalty after penalty, and every time you thought we could stop them, there's a penalty. You got guys eagerly trying to jump the route, and you're giving up 15-yard plays instead of playing your zone, not trying to do something a little too extra that you're not capable of. Now, granted, the defense did keep us in the game, but the real question is, did the defense keep us in the game, or was it the lack of a good quarterback that kept us in the game? Mitch Trubisky is not really, someone that you're going to look at to lead a team. Just like last week, did Case Keenum, did the Seahawks defense keep them in that game, or did Case Keenum just keep making mistakes? So that's a question in the air. There was a lot of issues that, Cohen was able to return the ball on us every single time he touched the ball. We 3 and outs left and right. We couldn't get, convert on third down. We were having a lot of third and longs. And then the play calling was terrible. Now, I know that we have a brand new, what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive coordinator. That happens when you have a new offensive coordinator. So Brian Schottenham, let's see. I looked here. The run game, they tried to not abandon the run game, and at one point it started to make me upset. So Russell Wilson has not thrown an interception since his rookie year. I'm sorry, a pick six since his rookie year. He throws one last night. Now we know Russell, he's going to rub that off and keep going. But the immediately next drive with 2 minutes and like 45 seconds left, maybe 3 minutes. I'm not sure what the time is on there. It might even been a little longer than that, but regardless, it was within 5 minutes. They're running back-to-back plays, running. No urgency. Now, why else am I upset? Why else am I upset that they're running the ball? Because they're down to one timeout left with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, because they're blowing timeouts in the very beginning of the third quarter and before you even get into the final 5 minutes of the game. So poor clock management. Russell was on the run the whole game. They don't even realize there's ways to get around this. If you look at what Green Bay did when they played against the Bears, they were getting totally destroyed and manhandled. So they went into the hurry up. These are the things that you need to do now. At the very end, when it didn't matter, Russell was able to move the ball and get down there and scored a touchdown. Now, if we had some timeouts, maybe we would have had a game on our hands. All in all, what I saw last night is an offense that is going to be struggling for a long time unless they get their heads out of their butts. And I'm being serious. We need better play calling. We need something better than the play calling that was happening last night. We saw 3 quarters go by with no offensive production. We saw 3 quarters go by with no change of game plan. We saw halftime come up. We're only down 3-10 when we should have been down 30-3. We should have been blown out, but because our defense kept us in the game, and Janikowski kicks the 56-yard kick. Was it 56? Let me just double check. Yeah, whatever. I can't keep looking for that. I don't want to waste your guys' time. But yeah, I think it was a 56-yard kick. We're in the game. So at halftime, adjustments need to be made. Now, what's some positives that we can look at? Okay. Positives. One, I like this young tight end, Disley. Will Disley, I believe. He looks promising. I know they drafted him to be a blocking tight end. He's got some speed. Russell's still Russell. That beautiful fade in the back right-hand corner of the end zone to Tyler Lockett was absolutely just beautiful. And if we weren't having such a bad game, we would have been able to enjoy that a little bit more. But Russell's still Russell. But his wide receivers, I don't know if it's the play calling or the wide receivers, because last week they were able to get open. This week, they were not able to get open. Russell steps back in the pocket. He avoids the sacks sometimes. So near the end of the game, when he started to move a little bit better and avoid the sacks, he was still getting sacked because of coverage. He was getting sacks because he had nowhere to go with the ball. So the sacks came because not only the fact that the offensive line is terrible, and let's just be honest, Jermaine Ifedi, I don't know why he's still with this team. Now, let me be fruitful here for my fellow Seahawks fans. Back-to-back weeks on the road, we faced Von Miller and Khalil Mack. And we're going to talk about these guys on tonight's episode. But these are 2 of the best, if not the best, pass rushers in the NFL. Back-to-back, we played at hard away stadiums, Mile High and Soldier Field. And back-to-back, the pass rushers with a weak offensive line. Is this the end of the season? No. By all means, it's not. The last time that we went 0-2 was in the 2015 season. We made it to the divisional round that year and lost to Carolina Panthers in the divisional round. Now, granted, we are not the same team as then. I'm just saying that it's not over, but here's the thing. We're in a football league where there's 17 games a year, 16 games that you play. In those 16 games, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. You can lose a couple. We've already lost 2. So our wiggle room is gone. Now it's like, you're gonna have to get out there and do some things. So is the season over? By all means, I don't believe so. Now, granted, the Rams have taken a 2-0 lead on us in the division. We do play them twice. That's positive. And the Cardinals, they don't look good. The Niners don't look as good as we expected them to look. I don't see this being over at all. I believe that, Seattle does start slow every single year. We've been seeing this for 7 years now. They're a slow starting team. I don't remember them ever starting this bad, though. Regardless if they start slow or not. Now, granted, last week's game was not a bad game. There were some bad things that happened in the game, but last week's game was not a bad game. Last night's game was a bad game. Last night's game was one of the worst games I've seen from Russell Wilson in a long time. And the run game, I don't know what happened. Carson, I guess he was winded at the end and Penny came in, but I saw some bursts from Penny. I saw some moves from Penny. I don't know what I feel about this run situation at the moment, but I'm looking to see Seattle change everything, though. I don't care if it's only week 2. The play calling needs to change. The offensive scheme needs to change. I get it that you want to get back to the run offense that you had back in the day. But see, the thing is, back in the day, you had a different type of defense as well. And that allowed you to do things. Now you're a different team. You're paying Russell Wilson all that money for a reason. You don't have Marshawn Lynch. I get that you want to get back to that run game. I do. And run it. Believe me. Open up that play action. Run some bootlegs. Let's do it. But you need to get Russell Wilson in the game early and stop waiting to the very end of the game to let Russell get hot. Now, as far as Russell goes, I have no worries about him. That pick six is a fluke. Like I said, that's his second in his entire career. This long career that he's already had now. Been in the league, 7 years? He's had 2 pick sixes. One in his rookie year, one now. That's not going to put any fear in my heart. I'm not worried about anything. All in all, I think the Seahawks are in troubled water. They're not at the point where they need to panic and say that, it's over, but they are in the point where they need to panic and get the gears moving. And I think Seattle does have the ability to definitely do something. They have a pedigree, organization. They have veteran leadership that's still in the team. There's not a lot of it. Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright were missing last night. They will be back. Doug Baldwin is still missing. He's going to be back eventually. I think that we do need to make some moves before the trade deadline, and I'm going to make a video about that at another time. But for now, I'm just going to leave it with don't panic, 12s. Stay focused. And Bears, you guys, we're going to talk about you guys tonight on the podcast with Paul about that defense. That defense is serious. I believe you have a top 10 defense, definitely. There's great things on the defense prior to Mac's arrival, and Mac just verified it. So with all that, this is Mike Pagano with MVP News. You guys have a great day. We'll see you tonight on the podcast.